This is an All Ears English Podcast, episode 2101. Should you shop around? Native English phrases for making purchases. Welcome to the All Ears English Podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection, with your American host, Aubrey Carter, the IELTS whiz, and Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, coming to you from Arizona and Colorado, USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app.
What is your shopping style? Today, learn 3 new ways to talk about the way you shop. Do you buy things on impulse or do you take your time? Find out how to describe your style today. Lindsay, do you shop around when you need to buy something, or are you like more likely to make impulse purchases?
Well, Aubrey, it depends on what I'm buying, of course. But yeah, I usually do try to shop around because I tend to be kind of thorough in stuff in my choices. So yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What about you?
This came up. Oh yeah. That's a good question. I'm an impulse shopper. I don't shop around. And I've gotten I'm bad about just like buying a bunch of stuff on Amazon. And then I'm like, I'll just return what I end up, like swimsuits. I ordered like 12. And then, because, with swimsuits, they all sometimes fit strange. I'm like, I'll just return the ones that don't fit.
Yeah.
So it's sort of impulse shopping and then trying it at home.
Yeah.
It's weird how the way we shop has changed so much.
It
right?
has. I've been using that method with Zappos. So with shoes, because I just hate going to shoe stores, trying on shoes, moving to the next one. It doesn't fit. So
do they make returns easy?
Yeah, because now you can, I guess it was Zappos, can return through Amazon, through Whole Foods. I don't know. It worked for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm able to just like drop off at no charge, like anything I don't use. So, hey, if Amazon's going to make it this easy,
it's kind of awesome.
I'm definitely supporting like globalization here. I recognize because it's it's difficult to like find the time as a mom of 4 kids to go try on a bunch of swimsuits at a store.
No one wants to go to the mall. I just don't want to do it. It's just too much work. So order something online and try it on. Yeah, it's a good method. It works. That's the way we're moving in our shopping habits, right? But what are we talking
about? This phrasal
about?
verb that I asked you about, shop around.
Yeah,
it came up. I was pulling keywords and working on transcripts for a recent episode, 2070. If you guys missed it, it was called How Workout Culture Can Build Connection in English.
Love that one.
And we used this phrasal verb, shop around, and we didn't really stop and talk about it. So I was like, ooh, that actually would be a great episode.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. So I'm excited because I'm sure our listeners know shop, but when you add around, it becomes much more interesting, much more of like a profound, like just more meaning to it. Right?
Yes, absolutely. So we're talking about that one and some other phrases, vocabulary we use for similar for like shopping, right?
Yeah, but speaking of, the transcripts and the app, guys, go over, if you feel like you love All Ears English, but you want to go one level deeper, you need the transcripts. And the way to get the transcripts right on your phone, you don't have to check your email, you don't have to do anything else, is the app. So go to allearsenglish.com/app, sign up for the 7-day free trial. You will see the transcripts as you listen to every episode. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes, it's so helpful to be able to read the transcripts as you listen to the podcast. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of closed captioning on like YouTube and stuff, but it's AI generated. It's very imperfect. I see so many mistakes, whereas we put in a lot of time and effort to make sure that our transcripts are basically perfect, right?
So really do. Yeah.
It's really useful.
Yeah. Our transcripts are made by hand with lots of labor of love, right? And so guys, they are there for you if you go ahead and join the premium app subscription. All right, Aubrey, where do we start today?
Yeah. So let's dive into this first one, shop around. It means to either like go to many different stores or companies or like research a lot online to compare prices, to compare quality of goods and services before you decide to buy them.
Yes. So this is something. So for example, I've been shopping around for a new car. That's something I would definitely shop around on.
Me too, right? That's not something that we're buying on impulse. Like, you want to do your research, you want to make sure you're getting a good price and that you're buying a car that's not going to just break down.
Oh my gosh. Nowadays, the car buying market is insane in the US.
Yes.
It's a tough time to buy a car.
We had a Jeep for my 17-year-old and it was starting to have a lot of mechanical issues. It was in the shop all the time.
Ooh.
So we were in the market for buying a new car and we had to shop around a lot because used cars are expensive and so many of them were in horrible condition. So it was a lot of work to find something else.
Yeah, it's really hard. The pandemic really screwed up the rental car market and the used car market because the rental car companies sold off their fleets, right? And so renting a car became more expensive. Used cars became, I think it's starting to come back down now, but it has been a bad time to buy a car.
Yeah, we ended up using one of those. It was either Carvana or CarMax or one of those. Like, some of these companies have been born out of the pandemic and popularized now because they do make it a lot easier.
That's helpful.
And that's what we ended up going with.
I like that. All right. So what about a laptop? Would you shop around for a laptop, or would you just go and, go to Best Buy, buy the first one you see?
I would shop around too. Here's another example. I need to shop around for a laptop. What do you like about yours? Right? This is a really good way to get recommendations, because this is definitely something that part of my shopping around would be asking other people, like, what do you use? What do you love? What have you found?
Yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time, especially at All Ears English, on our laptops all day, basically. At least I do. And so it matters, that's something you would shop around for. But there are other things maybe you would just kind of impulse buy, right? Like maybe shoes, as you said.
Right. Yeah, I'm like groceries, right? There are some people are like coupon cutters, or they're shopping around for sale. A lot of us don't have time. I'm just going to the grocery store and I'm buying what I need.
I'm not a coupon cutter. I never have been. I just don't have, the discipline it requires. I feel like I could make use of, I think my time is more valuable than what I would save cutting the coupon.
Absolutely. Yeah. But this is a great way to start a conversation, to make a connection. You could ask someone, just like I asked you, do you shop around before making a big purchase? And that opens up this cool conversation for them to share what they recently had to shop around for.
Yeah, you can learn a lot about people, about their values, about how they make decisions, and just get closer to people just by knowing more about them, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, so our second phrase is just do research. We say this a lot, right? It means to look up information or to ask around about a product. And this is a bonus phrasal verb, ask around, which means to ask lots of different people for recommendations.
I like it. Ask around. We're all about the around phrasal verbs today.
Right, exactly. Shop around, ask around. And we use those a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's not super intuitive, but it makes sense. Around is kind of multiple people, talking to people. So guys, add these to your vocabulary. I love it. It will definitely make you more native and natural, right? Yeah. I need to do some research about phones before I decide which one to buy, right? To do research.
Do some research or do research. Yeah, it just means you're reading up on it. You're reading reviews a lot. We'll say do research. It's not the same kind of research you would do for like a term paper or your thesis in school, right? It's more like reading reviews. Reading about the product online and asking around, asking people about it.
Oh, for sure. And then what else?
I could say I should have done more research before buying this house. So again, we talk about doing research before big purchases. There's a lot of research that has to go into buying a house, a very thorough inspection. And all of that is the research you do before the purchase.
Oh my gosh, yes. It requires a lot of discipline, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Then on the other side of things, impulse buying, impulse shopper, right? This is the other kind of personality. You just go for it.
Exactly right. Buying on impulse without doing much research. A person who does this is called an impulse shopper, like you said. And then what you buy would be called an impulse purchase.
Yes, exactly. So not doing that research. Do you know anyone who is more of an impulse shopper for big things?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I have a friend who I remember when she bought a car, when we knew them, we had probably been married like 10 years, and they bought a car from someone without really like shopping around or looking into, and just like immediately regretting it. And because it was a private purchase, there's nothing you could do, and maybe she learned her lesson and isn't anymore.
Yeah, you can't really return a car.
I always wondered that. Like you can't, like you can return most things, but you can't drive it because as soon as you drive that thing off the lot, it loses like 90% of its value or something, right?
Exactly right. That's why it's so important to do that research in advance.
So, for example, I'm trying to avoid impulse buying. I'll need to shop around before deciding.
Yeah, this is definitely something I would say because I can be an impulse shopper when I'm just like, I feel like I don't have time, feel like I don't have the time to do the research. So I would say this, okay, I'm trying to avoid impulse buying. I have to force myself to do research.
Even when it does come to grocery shopping, they say you should always never go to the grocery store hungry because you'll impulse buy on all these like baked goods and things. That's a little bit different, but like it's on the same vibe of like, I need this right away. I'm starving. I'm going to buy all these sweets. Junk food.
It's funny. It's actually the opposite for me because when I'm hungry, I'm like, everything sounds good. So I end up buying more fruits and vegetables because I'm like, I'm hungry enough that I would eat any of this. Whereas if I'm not hungry, then I'm like, oh, maybe I want all this snacky stuff.
So you're
weird how it's
the trend there, Aubrey. Yeah, you don't fall into the research. I
know. It's funny. I have noticed this about myself. Like if I go hungry, then I'm like, ooh, celery sounds good. Put that in the cart. I'm so hungry, I'll eat anything.
That is so funny. I love it. All right, what else? How else could we use impulse shopper?
Yeah, you might say, I'm a bit of an impulse shopper. I don't always do my research before making large purchases. I love this adding a bit of for something like this, because this is kind of a negative thing to say about yourself. I'm an impulse shopper. And we soften it by saying like, I'm a bit of an impulse shopper.
We could do another episode just on that, revealing something about ourselves by saying, I'm a bit of this, I'm a bit of that, right? Maybe you're a little hesitant to say it. It might not come off sounding good. So guys, hit follow now so you get that episode when we do that in the next few months, right? Okay.
Love it. And then it's just a fun thing to ask someone to spark a conversation to say, are you an impulse shopper or do you shop around, right? It's just something interesting to know about people, again, that gives them an opportunity to share about something recent that they bought.
For sure. And there's always buyer's remorse too, which is kind of a bonus today, right?
Yeah.
So even if you spend months researching something, you always feel that buyer's remorse. At least I do. As soon as I make a decision,
that's pretty standard.
Yeah. It's an awful feeling, isn't it? It's like, no, I should have gotten the other thing, even though all the data says I should have gotten this, and I did.
Right? Especially for big money purchases, because I think that buyer's remorse comes as you see the money leave your bank account.
Or you see hard.
The amount on your credit card, it's like, well,
it can be hard,
not a great feeling.
This is probably a universal feeling. Our listeners all over the world, right? All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, let's do a role play to show this in a conversation. You and I are chatting at lunch in this role play. I'll start us out.
Okay.
I've been really bad about impulse buying lately. Are you an impulse shopper?
I try not to be. I'm pretty good about shopping around, especially for large purchases.
I usually am too, but it's tough when I get really busy. I definitely should have done more research before buying this car.
Oh no. Is it having problems?
Yes, it was a total impulse purchase and now I'm regretting it.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
It would be, right? Buyer's remorse on multiple levels. It's in the shop now. This role play was totally based on that friend that I had that had hadn't shopped around, regretted buying this car.
The problem with that is like, when you make a bad car purchase, it's a really bad car purchase, right? Because you end up in the shop, you like pay for it and pay for it and pay for it for the whole life.
This happened to me in college. We, my dad helped me shop around for a car and we bought kind of a clunker, but we took it to his mechanic and he kind of checked it out. He said, it is leaking a little bit of oil, but it seems okay. And then I drove it about 3 hours to get to college and the windshield wiper, it was raining, it was pouring rain. And the windshield wipers didn't work. I had to pull over and just wait for it to stop raining. And then I got there and I checked the oil and it was it was leaking so much oil.
Oh,
I ended up having to sell it at a loss. It was such a bummer.
So basically you bought a lemon, as they say.
It was a lemon. We called it a clunker where I grew up. But yeah, it was cheap because it was a clunker.
I mean, at least I see the silver lining on that is that you made that life mistake early. And so you learn from that for life now, right? You won't buy a lemon ever again.
Right? Better to be a car for a few $100s. I think we paid $400 for that car. That's hilarious to think about. You could never buy a car for that now. Even the junk, it couldn't be running.
Yeah.
$400.
I bought a car off my dad, a Volvo, an 84 Volvo when I was in high school for $500. And
Nice.
the quirk with that one is that the windshield wipers wouldn't stop. So opposite problem that you had. So on the sunny days, I'm driving around town. Doot, 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 doot.
Couldn't turn them off. That's so funny.
It was
This
so
car
fun.
also just it was wired, so you could just start it with like sunglasses or like a screwdriver. You didn't need a key. It was so old and bad, this like wire. So then my friends found that out and could just move it. They could just start it
I
with
love it.
anything
Oh
and
my
then
God,
move it in the
these are
parking
such
lot.
great 90s stories, 80s, 90s stories. I love it. I love it. It's so good. All right, Aubrey, let's show our listeners what we use today. And we've taught them that bonus lemon, guys. You will hear that if you're buying a car, and some of our listeners will be buying a car living in the US. So you may hear that is basically buying a car, a used car that is
Not running
sour.
well.
I mean,
It's about to fall apart. It's not going to work very long. Yes.
yeah, maybe it has some hidden problems that you discover later. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. So I first used this. I just said, oh, I've been really bad about impulse buying lately. Are you an
Mhm.
impulse shopper? This is
Right.
actually a really great way to, if you're going to ask someone about them, something that is a little bit negative, to be an impulse shopper, to first share it about yourself.
Oh,
I'll
I
do this.
agree.
Be like, ugh, I've been bad about this. What about you? Do you do this too?
Right. Because you're unlikely to say, are you an impulse shopper? Right. It'd feel
Out
kind
of
of
the blue, right.
accusatory and sort of, no, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Mhm.
And then I say, I try not to be. I'm pretty good about shopping around, especially for large purchases. Right.
Meaning that you're researching, you're figuring out what you need. And then I said, I definitely should have done more research before buying
Yeah,
this
good. And those are the 3 phrases we taught our listeners. What's the takeaway? Don't buy a lemon.
Exactly. Don't buy a lemon, and use this for conversations, right? Asking friends about shopping habits or sharing yours is such a great way to connect in English.
Yeah, I love it. So good. Such a good topic. And Aubrey, I will talk to you later. Fun talking about cars.
Yes. Awesome. See you next time.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.